The fate of Rosemary Ndlovu now sealed. She has been sentenced to 6 life sentences, which will run concurrently. The sentencing there by Judge Ramarumo Monama at the Johannesburg High Court, which has been sitting in the Palm Ridge Court. We do have our reporter Zikhona Tshona, who is on the ground. She's been covering this story for us, and we'll touch base with her in just a moment. But you will remember that earlier on, some family members of the victims took to the stand, and they expressed how the death of their loved ones has impacted them. We also had a criminologist coming up, and what she said for Rosemary Ndlovu was surely damning on her account. She said there was no chance of rehabilitation. She found her to be a danger to society, that she had no remorse, and that the extent to which she was able to negatively impact society was not even a consideration for Rosemary Ndlovu. And so that is something that the judge also took into consideration as he meted out his sentences. He made it quite clear, as he was reading out his judgment, that in order for a lesser sentence to be prescribed, you will remember that for a murder, a life sentence is to be prescribed, there need to be, as he puts it, substantial and compelling circumstances. And he found that in the case of Rosemary Ndlovu, there were neither substantial nor compelling circumstances that would change the verdict that he was to give out. Yes, she is an offender. The crime and the extent of the crime also needs to be taken into account, and the interests of society. Those are the 3 pillars upon which his judgment would have laid today. Rehabilitation, he says, in this particular case, needs to take a back seat, and instead retribution and being a deterrent need to be at the forefront, especially in this case. He says, not since 1932 has there been a case of such brutality. And he says that she saw the lives of her relatives as a commodity. The nephews and nieces called her aunt, and the judge dubbed her the cruel auntie. But for now, let's touch base with Zikhona Tshona, who's been following this case for us right from the beginning. So Zikhona, this then brings to bed, you know, months of the trial, a number of people coming up, giving evidence, witnesses, those who are implicated, and 6 life sentences now being given to Rosemary Ndlovu. I wonder, though, what was the final solution as far as her request to be moved from Kgosi Mampuru to Johannesburg Correctional Services?
That has not been concluded yet. The judge saying that it's not up to him to decide where she should be placed, but he does say that she is a dangerous person and should be placed in a facility with high security. The court has recommended, rather by the criminologist, that she be placed, she remain at Kgosi Mampuru prison because of the security that is there. So where she will serve her sentence remains to be determined. But I've got one of the family members here. A little comfort for the family members, as today they had to relive the trauma that they endured after losing their loved ones. It's the brother of Morris Mabasa, Justice Mabasa. So as the judgment was handed down, what was going through your head?
Thank you, Zikhona. It was like so unpredictable. I could not think the judgment will go as far as it did, based on what was being spoken about. But as a family, for me, at this moment, I think it's better. It's something that is like mind easing. At least my brother's death was not taken for granted, and at least she's going to serve the best sentence ever in South Africa. As you have heard the judge saying, for the past 68 years, they've never heard anything or saw anything of that nature. So that's what I can say, that we are pleased, although it won't bring back my brother, but at least his death was not in vain. Yeah.
Have the children, we know that he has 4 children, have the children been following these court proceedings? What have they been saying about what is happening?
Yeah, they've been following. They always make sure that they see it. The only challenge is that they don't want to be in the same vicinity with the accused. So you can understand that, like having your father being murdered in that sense, it was not like something that the person can see. Yeah.
And her final attempt with her appealing for leave to appeal this judgment as well as the sentence?
You know, that, as the judge have said, that was nonsensical. Like, I mean, really, how do you appeal something that's so immense against you? Like, she knew that she was not going to win that part. And thank God it was dismissed.
And what do you make of her character? I mean, as she was walking away, she was still giving threats to some of the family members that were inside court today.
You know, that's a true nature. That's who she is. And I think at least even people here have seen the other side of her. She was pretending when she was like trying as if she was crying. She was not crying. It was just one part of her laughing. You see, like she does that. I've seen worse. At American embassy, she fell down and rolled on the ground. So I cannot be surprised if she can fake anything else. You see, yes.
Thank you very much. That's Justice Mabaso, the brother of Morris Mabaso, who was the partner of Rosemary Ndlovu at the time at which she died, survived by 4 children. Inside court today, Justice described how his passing, his brother's passing, pained his children. At the time that he died, he had planned to build a home for him and his children. As you heard a short while ago, 6 life sentences handed down for Rosemary Ndlovu, for the 6 people that lost their lives at her hands, as well as 10 years for attempted murder, for plotting to kill her own mother. The judge, as you've mentioned, describing her as not only a dangerous person to society, but a cruel aunt, saying that she lured her victims, made them earn her trust, told them that she loved them, treated them as family, and they referred to her as aunt, which is why the judge then called her a cruel aunt. The families relieved as those sentences were handed down. We've seen throughout these court proceedings, many of the families seated in the gallery were brought to tears. We saw the mother, one of the mothers of the victims, on the stand, crying, describing how since her son died, she has been struggling. The family now relies on social grants, saying that was her only child. In fact, after she took to the stand, she had to be taken out of the court proceeding because that's how emotional it was for her to relive losing her only son. Now, Naomi did try and appeal or apply for leave to appeal both her charges as well as the sentence. The judge dismissing that, saying that he does not believe there would be any other court which would reach a different decision to what he has concluded today, as she left, continuing to threaten the family members who were seated at the gallery, saying things such as, "This Christmas she'll be inside bars, but the next one she may be out." That not taken lightly by the state, and warning her to just go in and go and serve her sentence. So she has been handed down 6 life sentences, and the families saying it's little comfort because we won't bring back their loved ones, but they are pleased with today's judgment.